Welcome to week 7 of the Northern Shield Academy. I am Ausper, and this week I'll be teaching you about the economy in Valorant. Valorant uses a credit system that allows you to purchase guns and abilities to play out a round. So let's hop into how you can earn money. There are 4 different ways you can earn credits within a round. The first way is by getting kills. Every kill in Valorant grants you up to 200 credits, which can potentially grant you up to 1,000 credits in a round on kills alone. The next way is by planting the spike as the attackers. Planting the spike gives everyone on the attacking team 300 credits. It's important to note that defusing the spike as a defender will win you the round, but it will not give your team any credits. The next way is by your team winning the round. Winning a round in Valorant grants everyone on your team 3,000 credits. And the last way is by your team losing the round. Losing a round in Valorant grants your team up to 1,900 credits. Also, Valorant uses a similar system to Counter-Strike, where every consecutive loss will grant you a 500 credit bonus on top of the base amount of 1,900. So 2,400 credit total for losing 2 rounds in a row. Then if you were to lose a 3rd round in a row, everyone on your team will earn up to 2,900 credits. This bonus caps off at 3 consecutive losses. Let's talk about the early rounds and what the meta is currently in regards to what people are buying and why. In Valorant, in the very first round of you starting on attack or defense, everyone starts off with 800 credits. 800 credits isn't that much, but you can do a few things with it, namely buying pistols, abilities, and armor. A couple of things people do depends on your character, whether or not your character has a lot of utility for the team, or if your character is an entry fragger. If you are a utility agent, you're typically speaking, you're buying a couple of your cheap abilities and then buying half armor and using the classic pistol. Another option is opt in for not buying armor and buy a more expensive pistol combined with a couple of your cheap abilities, like a frenzy or a ghost. Or you can go all in and just buy a sheriff and go for body shots on the enemy. After round 1 has ended, depending on if you won or lost, you have a couple of options. First, I'll talk about if you lost. If you lost pistol round, that means you only won at least 1,900 credits, which still is not a lot of credits to work with, so you have 2 options about what your team can do in that round. The first option is full save. Understand that you lost the pistol round, so that means you don't have enough credits to support a good buy, and you're pretty much giving up round 2, so that you save enough money to buy on round 3. The second option is opting in for a force buy, buying stingers and light armor, and little to no abilities. I'll talk about it in a little more depth when talking about the side who wins the pistol rounds, but essentially they will also be having submachine guns, and although they will have better submachine guns, it can catch them off guard. If you end up losing this round, it means you have to full save on round 3 and accept the fact that you gambled on round 2 and you lost it. If you win on round 2, you can keep the guns you lived with and try to save your money with the guns you have so you can buy on round 4, knowing that because the other team lost on round 2, on round 3 they cannot support a buy and they will attempt to win a round on round 4. Jumping back to if your team wins pistol round, your team to earn a minimum of 3,000 credits. Knowing that the other team is broke and they must take a chance about whether or not they want to gamble on round 2, your team should opt in to buying specters, armor, and abilities. Knowing the best the other team can do is buy stingers and armor. If they opt into buying stingers, your team still has better guns and potentially more abilities. So if everything works out properly, you win the round and they are broke once again. Then on round 3, your team should opt into bonus, which means that you keep everything you had from the previous round and not spend any credits, just so that you can have enough credits for the next 2 rounds, win or loss, so that you can full buy. If you end up losing on their force buy on round 2, you accept your loss there, and you should just save on round 3 to purchase for round 4. Now, if the enemy opts to full save on round 2, that means that round you should win because it's submachine guns versus pistols. Round 3, because the enemy saved, that means that they can support a full buy with assault rifles, armor, and abilities, and even though you just won 2 rounds in a row, and you can support a full buy on round 3, you still opt into bonus so that you can save credits because you already have a gun and you don't want to waste 1,600 credits to upgrade your gun. Essentially, it's going to be a round where you don't care if you lose anything, but the enemies have everything to lose. Afterwards, starting around 4, depending on how successful you were on round 3, the enemies might have half assault rifles and half submachine guns, while your team can still support 2 full buys. The early 3 rounds are very volatile because it sets the pace for the rest of the game. Just make sure in the early rounds you and your team are coordinating about if you're buying or not. Because if you spend all your credits on one round, but the rest of your team doesn't, it will affect your later rounds. An important thing to consider when playing Valorant is to include your economy in your decision making. If you and your team has a lot of money to mess around with, there isn't really much thought needed. You have enough money to buy for the next couple of rounds, but this also means that your enemy shouldn't have a lot of money. This should tell you that you shouldn't let them save their gun, which means them sitting back, purposely not attacking or re-attacking the site, so that they can take their gun to their next round. You didn't make them work for keeping that gun. So that means as a team, you push them so they can't do that. If you die, you don't really care because you have all the credits in the game to throw around, whereas the other team doesn't. If you're on the side that doesn't have a lot of credits, you have a couple things you can do. If neither team has a clear advantage, you can just play out the round normally, but eventually one of the team might grab a big advantage, and if the other team has it, you have to understand that if you lose the round, you'll be unable to fight a fair fight next rounds. So you can try to win that round and keep your team from falling behind in rounds for the sakes of economy, or you can opt to not attack / retake the site for the sole purpose of bringing your gun into the next round, where you can try to win that round with a couple of guns instead of just pistols. Another thing about economy in Valorant is the fact that you can share your economy with your teammates. In Valorant, if you don't have enough credits to purchase a gun, you're able to request it, and your teammates can purchase it for you if they have enough credits. This feature only allows you to request guns, and you cannot request shields or abilities. Speaking of shields, there are 2 shields in Valorant. Light Shield, which costs 400 credits, which absorbs 66% of the total damage taken, and breaks after it absorbs 25 damage. And the second shield is Heavy Shields, which costs 1000 credits, and absorbs 66% of the total damage taken, and breaks after it absorbs 50 damage. One last thing that can save you credits in Valorant is swapping guns. When someone dies in Valorant, they drop their primary gun. And if they don't have a primary gun, they'll drop their secondary gun. Pay attention to the guns on the ground and compare them to the guns that you currently have. Obviously, if you only have a pistol and someone died with a Vandal and you can go and pick it up, take it and bring that gun to the next round. Now you just saved yourself 2,900 credits in the next round. Finally, something important to know is how much a full buy costs on the agents that you play. All guns and shields cost the same across every agent, but the thing that is different is the price of your abilities. So try to remember how much all your abilities cost going into the next round so you can determine how much money you can spend in the current round. You can check how much money you will have at the start of next round when in the buying menu, right under your agent. It'll say minimum next round. This assumes you do absolutely nothing and your team loses the round. That's it for this week, and as always, if you haven't done so already, follow us on all social media at Enshield Academy, and you can follow myself on Twitter at Ausper4. If you have any comments or questions for the coaches, please drop a message in the Discord channel, and next week we'll be covering over some advanced gameplay to incorporate into your matches.
Hi everyone, it's me again. Speed bottlenecks are the worst. Your gaming speed and performance is only as fast as your router's output. Our sponsor, TP-Link's latest Wi-Fi 6 AX11000 gaming router has 12 streams of 10 gigabytes per second. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week, and I hope you're enjoying the Gaming Academy so far.